The footage you are watching corresponds to camera 4B outside the Sterling-Vanguard building in Lower Manhattan. The subject seated on the bench is identified in police reports as John Doe number 409. For 15 years, he sat in that exact spot. He didn't speak. He didn't ask for money. He simply existed in the periphery of the financial district. At 3:17 a.m., the subject's vital signs ceased. The responding officers found 3 items in his pockets: a half-eaten sandwich, a plastic pen, and a library card issued in 1998. By 4 a.m., the body was transported to the city morgue, destined for a communal grave. It was a routine procedure for the city of New York. However, 48 hours later, the narrative changed. A dormant trust fund, registered in the Cayman Islands, triggered an automatic transfer upon the confirmation of the subject's death. The amount was not consistent with an indigent profile. The transfer was for $412 million, and it had a single designated beneficiary, a man who had no idea the money existed. Elias Mendez, age 54, night shift security officer for the building behind the bench. According to the shift logs obtained from the security firm, Elias clocked in at 10 p.m. and clocked out at 6 a.m., 6 days a week for 12 years. His record is spotless. No infractions, no absences. Witness statements from other staff members describe a ritual. Every night at 2 a.m., during his break, Elias would exit the building. He would sit on the steps, a few feet away from the homeless man. He would place a cup of coffee and a sandwich on the bench, and he would sit in silence. In his deposition to the probate court, Elias stated, "He never spoke. I never asked him to. I just knew he was cold, and I knew he was human. That was the extent of our relationship. There is no record of verbal exchange between them." Yet, when the lawyers unsealed the trust fund document, Elias Mendez was named explicitly, not as a friend, but as the only person who saw me. The transfer of $400 million did not go unnoticed. The Sterling-Vanguard firm, whose entrance the homeless man had occupied, immediately filed an injunction to freeze the assets. Their legal argument was brutal and, on paper, logical. They argued that the deceased was mentally incapacitated. They claimed that the funds were likely the result of illicit origin or a clerical error, and that Elias Mendez had used undue influence on a vulnerable, mentally ill squatter to manipulate a signature. The narrative they built was convincing. How could a man who ate from trash cans possess a fortune? And more importantly, how could he be lucid enough to execute a complex international will? Elias was suspended from his job. His bank accounts were frozen. He was facing deportation and criminal fraud charges. The burden of proof shifted. To keep the inheritance, Elias needed to prove that the homeless man was not insane. But the man was dead, and he had left no medical records. Except for one thing. Among the personal effects collected by the coroner was a backpack. Inside, there were 22 spiral notebooks. The covers were stained with grease and mud. At first glance, the pages appeared to be filled with the erratic scribbles of a madman. Thousands of pages of jagged lines, loops, and dots. The firm's lawyers presented this as definitive proof of insanity. Gibberish, they called it in court. The graphomania of a disturbed mind. But Elias's public defender requested a forensic document examination. She brought in Dr. Aries Thorne, a specialist in archaic writing systems. Dr. Thorne didn't see scribbles. He saw a code. It was Greg's shorthand, a stenography method popular in the mid-20th century, used for high-speed dictation. The homeless man hadn't been drawing. He had been writing, fast and with terrifying precision. For 15 years, sitting on that bench, the man had been invisible to the bankers, brokers, and CEOs entering the building. They saw a piece of furniture, so they talked freely in front of him. They discussed mergers before they were public. They discussed hiding assets. They discussed manipulating stock prices. and the man on the bench wrote down every word. The notebooks contained dates, names, and exact amounts of illegal insider trading conducted by the partners of Sterling-Vanguard. The beggar wasn't just a witness. He was building a database. The source of the 400 million wasn't theft. It was investment. The investigation revealed that the man had used a proxy phone service to make anonymous trades based on the information he heard from the bench. He beat the market because he was listening to the people rigging it. Faced with the public release of the notebooks, the firm dropped the lawsuit against Elias immediately. They settled. Elias Mendez received the full amount. He resigned from his security position the next day. However, one question remains on the record. The identity of the man on the bench was never legally confirmed. His fingerprints didn't match any database. Some theorize he was a former auditor who snapped. Others, a disgraced CEO doing penance. Whatever his name was, he left his fortune to the only person who offered him a sandwich instead of a stock tip. The case is closed. The record is incomplete.